You just can't stop yourself. You have to do it. You miss this person. You can't stop thinking about them. You have to say something. And you think that sending just one more message is going to bring you some kind of relief. But the moment you send it, your anxiety doubles. Now, I want you to understand what that message is actually doing when you send it. Because most people, long before they see the pattern, are sitting there with their phone in their hand thinking, I'm just not sure where things stand. Something happened between you two. Maybe a conversation that didn't go the way you hoped. Maybe there's just been a few days of silence that started to feel like you've lost them forever. Whatever it was, you just want them to tell you where you stand so you can get some answers and let go of all that confusion. Now, the most obvious way to do that is to send them that text. Most often it's something like, hey, I was just thinking about you, or I wanted to check in. Can we talk? I miss you. But the problem is you're not really texting them to start a conversation. You're texting them because you can't stand that feeling of uncertainty anymore. You want to know what they're feeling. You want to know what they are thinking. You want to know what's going to happen next. And I can tell you that on some level, they sense it, even if your message looks completely casual. And this is where the deeper story unfolds, because while you're on the other side of your phone, feeling like everything is on the line, they've put up a wall between themselves, you, and what's happened. That's not something they're doing consciously. People process emotions on their own timeline. Putting up that wall is just how they cope. When things get emotionally heavy, they distance themselves from the relationship. They stop thinking about it and distract themselves. They go to work, they see their friends, they stay busy until they start to settle down, relax, and feel okay again. Now, this is the part most people struggle with, but the urgency you're feeling right now genuinely doesn't exist for them at the same point in time that it does for you. Let me be clear about that so you don't miss it. You're both on a very different timeline when it comes to processing emotions. So when your message comes in after days of silence, it doesn't just read as hey. To them, it feels as if they're about to be pulled into another big emotional conversation that they're not even ready for yet. And so they feel boxed in and anxious. That text seems clingy, it looks needy, and they can feel the anxiety building when they read it, even though you just want to clear up that uncertainty and feel like you have some clarity. Now, there's nothing wrong with needing that, but you're asking them to give you those answers before they've processed what's happened. This is where the timing starts to matter, because your avoidant ex isn't going to respond to the content of your message. They are going to respond to the emotional pressure they feel when they get it. And if you send it at the wrong time, it's going to quickly double that feeling of anxiety that's already growing inside. Now, it's going to trigger their avoidance, and they'll start to pull away from you even more. You'll get short replies like, I'm busy, I don't know, I need some space, I can't talk, or sometimes they won't respond at all. But this is only the first layer, because now you feel worse than you did before. You're shocked, you're disappointed, you deserve more of an answer than what they gave you. So, you send another message to explain yourself or to soften what you said, maybe just to get some kind of real response out of them, because everything feels so unfinished and so incomplete. Now, that doesn't work either, because they don't reply back or they just seem cold and uninterested. But the worst part isn't that you message them. The worst part is the loop that you both get caught up in once this is happening. Because every time you reach out from that place of anxiety, it comes through in the message, whether you mean it or not. Which means the more you reach out, the more anxiety your ex feels. And the more anxiety they feel, the less they respond. And the less they respond, the more anxious you feel. And to make things even worse, the more that happens, the more they will start to connect you and your messages with feeling bad, in the same way that you connect not hearing from them with feeling bad. Not because you're absolutely doing something wrong, but because you've both become trapped in that cycle and you can't let go of it. Now, if it continues, then eventually it won't even matter what you say, because just the fact that it's coming from you will feel like too much for them even before they read it. That is the dynamic shift that no one sees coming, and it happens quietly over time without either of you fully realizing it. Now, that's not the whole story, because once you realize that reaching out to them may not help you, then you're left with something more difficult. And this is where the questions start again. What happens if you don't reach out to them? What happens if you let the silence continue? What happens if you are 30, 40, 60 days into no contact and they still haven't reached out to you? Will they miss you? Will they regret leaving you? Will they come back or just move on and forget that you even cared? Now that's the real fear. That's the real reason we want to reach out to them, and that's why we get caught in that loop. But when that dynamic becomes visible, people often understand the relationship differently. You understand why the urge to reach out is so strong. You know what problems those messages are actually causing. And so naturally you begin to wonder, what do I actually do now? And the answer is, that depends on where you are. Some people are at the beginning of this trying to figure out whether to go no contact at all. Some people are already in it and their ex just reached out. Now they don't know how to respond without making things worse. And of course, many people have already sent a few of those messages and are trying to figure out if there's any way to walk it back before things get worse. Now, those are the very same situations that we all find ourselves in. And that's why I created the no contact safety net specifically to help you with all three. It walks you through how to handle no contact the right way, how to respond if they reach out so you don't undo any progress you've made, and how to start correcting the dynamic if you've already been sending those messages. You can grab it from the link below if you feel like that can help you. Obviously, right now though, you might start focusing on all the mistakes you've been making. So, I want you to consider this. The fact that you want to reach out isn't a problem. It means you care about this person and you just want to know where you stand with them. And that's perfectly okay. The critical thing to understand, though, is that it might take them much longer than you before they are truly ready to talk about your relationship. Now, if you're curious what happens once you stop sending those messages, then you'll want to watch this next video. What happens after 60 days of no contact with an avoidant ex? Because I'll break down what 60 days of no contact can actually do, what it won't do, and why that's important. The answer is much more complicated than most people realize. So take care, and I'll see you there.